Mwana kumbase, imwana vela masari setu, saku panzu nzinga, kembo na nZambi ya mazulu, kimfumu kyaku isa. nZambi maweisha, nZambi ya kubenisha, nZambi monene, nZambi ampungo tulendo a Kongo yave. Umbote, Dumalang, Saubona, Betwabu, Yenga, Salama, Awe Nusiemi, Kambotekeno, Luvuvamu, Yala. We give all praises to nZambi and Pungu Omakongo for all that he is doing in this time. For those that don't know who we're talking about, if you choose to believe us or not, this is in fact the one who created the heavens and the earth that the fallen ones are against, and the world is deceived into thinking that they know the truth, because that was the days of Noka. Omakongo was evil and Lucifer was good, all once again by the seed of Cain, the spiritual seed of Cain, which was done through the children of Kama, which then spread as a virus to the rest of the tribes of Noka, to where Kemet became the foundation of the world in Babylon, which was rejecting the teachers of Nsemu, Shem, and Yapetas, who originally was with Nsemu, began to break away because of the Tower of Babel and the first kingdom that came into being under the three princes that were under each family members, and the clans spread out from there. And the history has been completely distorted and lost because of those who wanted to seek their revenge against nZambi and Pungu Yambe, to make him believe, the world believe he was the EMB, and that the gods of the Europeans, as they have been made to believe, is the good God. They have switched it out. I'm going to talk about the solidarity once again, and the 2,000-year-old revenge agenda to destroy the spiritual temple of Omakongo, which the world is not aware of, that all Christians don't understand that you are supposed to be connected to the temple of David. The problem is you think about the physical temple versus the spiritual temple. You think you're going into a temple, and this is the whole concept of Cain's spirit and the mindset of those who have been deceived, is that the Most High was always about a spiritual temple first, physical temple second. And the concept is that you don't go to the temple, you become the temple. You don't wait for the Messiah, you be like the Messiah. And this is the concept that was given to the world as a deception for those who wanted to revenge nZambi for what he did in his time of judgment against the nations, when he told us, learn ye not the ways of the heathen. We were disobedient to that. That's why we never learned to stop worshiping everybody else's gods but our own. And now the whole world stands in the deception of Revelation 12, because you can never replace the people. You can only be like the people. And it was supposed to be the people who are supposed to be teaching and not the other way around. And that's why the world stands in a state of confusion where everybody is destroyed for lack of knowledge. This is the whole concept of what you don't understand. I hope that you will Wikitila. I honor all of you who are doing the Most High's work. I honor all of you. I will get to the comments that you have sent me. Don't believe that. I do my best. It's been it's a spiritual and a physical struggle, because I'm going to talk about the true understanding of Daniel 7:25, which we know that really wasn't his name. But this is why you cannot convince people. And like I told, I got a really good perspective of things yesterday when I had to go take a trip somewhere, is you will never save them all. And you got to get that out of your head today, that they will think that you're crazy, which is the way it was supposed to be for those of us who are supposed to come to the understanding of the deception. And of course, those who don't know that they're deceived, they have to just stay that way, because the concept is It was always about the 2,000-year-old agenda. And now, as they're even putting it in our faces and they're constantly showing people that they played us, that's why we become the threat. And then they want to do everything and anything possible to make us look bad and make themselves look good. That's why they don't understand that a lot of this charity work that you see going on was created by the people on purpose to make themselves look good. Okay. So I need to change the setting on my camera real quick to mirror it. All right, sorry about that. Okay. So now as I get into the song, once again, I don't own the rights to this song. I do not have any distribution of any kind, but it's for the redistribution. We're going to talk about a book today called a couple of books, and we're going to talk about how the world has been deceived about the concept of light. Okay. And why they don't want us, especially here in America and other places, to know who we are, Ungubani. And even though who claim they think they know who we are, they're still working sorcery against us. And that's the concept that people don't understand, is it's an ongoing battle to where the imposter, or what the wizard, we call the wizard, is trying to wear out the saints and the Basantu. And the saints are, the Christians think that they are the saints. And I was going to play this video. I thought I saved it, but I think they took it down. But let me play the song and then I'll get to it. Let me first pull this up, actually. Because he was talking about how Christianity was, in fact, the Antichrist. And I think they might have pulled it down because when I posted it, that I said, yeah, he's not lying. Because what they don't understand with Christianity is that you have been trained to do the complete opposite of what the Messiah actually came to do. And that's the whole concept, is trying to convince people of this. Yeah, I have it right here. I never saved it. He's going to break it down. He's going to say that Christians are actually the Antichrist because they're doing everything the opposite of what they're supposed to do. But then I'll get to it here in a minute. So let me get the song going. Okay. I'm going to play this video of a gentleman, and I think I played it once before. He's gonna talk about the people called the Solidarity. People call them the Illuminati, the Kabbalah, the Luciferian elites, or whatever you want to call them. But what he's going to show once again, and I'll play a couple of videos actually. He's going to talk about the organization, because the biggest what the world doesn't understand is their three biggest problems are these three groups: the Italians, the Kabbalah or Khazarians, and the Ishmaelites, or the Arabs. Okay, these three organizations created what you now call, what we say as the three frogs of Revelation. Okay, the Italians created Christianity. Okay, the Khazarians created Judaism, and the Arabs created Islam. All of these three different beliefs are supposed to be based off of the Tula, or what they call the Torah of the Most High. The problem is all of these beliefs are actually meant to do the opposite. One says Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, and we're waiting on Jesus, and we are the church. The other one says the Messiah didn't come, we were waiting on him, we didn't accept the king that showed up. The other one says, yeah, we accepted this Jesus, but then Muhammad is his prophet, that he is the final, and he is the, and he is the final word of the Quran of the Most High. The problem is they lied about the people who were called the people of the way, or what we call a Bantwe Kenzila, who studied what was called Kongo and Zila. Kongo and Zila is basically teaching us that we are the spiritual temple, like Adam Kongo was, the first man, and that is our position to make sure that we are the spiritual embodiment of Messiah, of the Most High, of the Creator, of Mbasi, of a messenger, of an angel, Maliki Kongo. Okay, this is the concept that the world is not affiliated to. That's why with all the trends that they have created over the last several thousand years, most of these things were done through force, intimidation, and codes. Coding, that's one of the reasons why when you look at up until 500 years ago, Christians were not allowed to really read the Bible. They were just supposed to listen. And then, of course, in Islam, they were teaching the Quran. But the Quran, see, the wife of Muhammad was similar to the woman who showed up in Solomon, who said that, oh no, this is not Lucifer tricking you, because she was Nama in spirit. The sister of Cain, Tubal Cain. Okay, because she was raised by the nuns. That's why you have what they call the Mother Superior of the nuns. They are meant to think that the Mother Superior represents the embodiment or the spiritual representation of the Holy Mother that gave birth to the Messiah. The problem is they don't understand is, no, you are the representation of the one who gave the birth to the mother of Tammuz. And this is the coding behind it. So you live in ignorance to the fact that you're praying to Mary with your Holy Marys and Hail Marys and these type of things, when Malia Makongo is the mother of Masindisi, and you're talking to the mother of Tammuz, pretending to be the mother of Masindisi, which means sin destroyer, and they changed the name from Yesway Hamasia Kuswa Kongo to Jesus Christos, which existed before. The name Jesus Christos or Jesus, or they even had the word for the Greek, how they spelled it, Iesusas. They had this word Isus before the Messiah came, which was actually the changing of the word Isis, which was what they called Ma'at and the Kemetis, to be the mother of Heru or Horus or Tammuz, who was pretending to be the scripture of the first holy book that was written, like I talked about, when in the time of Eno, his name was Eno. It's not Enosh, it's Eno, okay? When he, and we'll see it here in the Kongo Bible, when we talk about the lineage, okay, of Enos, the lineage of Seth in the Bible, his name, when we're going to go to the Wantete, when we're going to go to Genesis 5, we're going to show you the names in the Kongo, that they have changed these names because they're meant to be the opposite of the Most High's temple, because it's all connected to the two different temples. The spiritual temple, no, I'm not doing that thing. I know people say, no, I'm not making the symbol of the horns because I'm not with that joker. But it's the symbol of the temple of Moabi, which goes back to Cain, or the spiritual temple of nGanga-nZambi that goes back to nGanga-nZambi Kongo. And this is why people get frustrated and they're getting tired, because when it talks about in Daniel, when he says he will think to wear out the saints, that is why they know they are trying to get you to wear out before they do, with what the fact that they have taught these different religions or beliefs. And it goes back to what this man is going to say. And and you can tell he's one of the Italian families, because Medici, I need to pull it up. I'll pull it up on my phone because it's better to read them to you. It's the Astors, it's because I have the picture. It's who they say who you think runs the world versus who does. And these particular families are part of what he's going to be calling this group of people. And their role was there was two concepts: to recognize that Herod was really the real king, or that Caesar or the Roman, he was the real pope or the real king still, but they were the same. The Caesar of Rome and King Herod were from the same god, Zeus or Jupiter or Saturn or Lucifer. That's part of the reason why when the Sanhedrin, the converted Phoenicians, when they came in there and they said that they were the tribe of Dani or Madonna, they were the Tannin, they were the Fibbers. They weren't hiding their identity behind the deception of our own people, who had the blasphemy to say we were better off when we were with the heathens. And this is the problem that we never learned. We kept saying this. Even as we move forward in time with the other kings and queens that would come, as we would build our kingdom back up down the centuries, they had the 800-year-old prophecy that was given to the people as a foresight that Jacob or Yakubi Israeli would go under Cain, Esau. And so that when anyone who would go against the normal teachings, they would be considered a heretic or blaspheming or anything that contradicts what was being taught to the norm. That's why when we now talk about the Simon Toko, Mfumu Yisu, who is the spiritual temple of the Most High, we say, oh no, that's a false Messiah. That's a false prophet. Why? Because the slave owners, through the programming of Willie Lynch, and then, of course, when the Jesuits, and as you're going to hear both of these people say it, through the, once again, sorry, my hand, it's weird. I'm not doing that garbage. But this joker, he really put his stamp. That's why people say the name Jesus Christ is the seal. It's like, no, the seal is the name of the Father. Because he said, if my people who are called by my name, that's why the Messiah said he also had the name of the Father. And he said, all his people have this name. That's why they took it out of the scriptures when they knew the difference between who we were. And when that rabbi is going to say, we changed the books and we destroyed them, that's when they started changing and taking things out so that they could control the plan or the plot. It goes back to what happened in Revelation 1 and 2 with the 7 churches. I told you, there's only 7 churches. And that's why I talked about the Holy 7 and the Evil 7. The Holy 7 or the Basantu 7 turned over his real church to Esau. That's why we try and tell you Esau's church cannot bring you salvation. And then our people are preaching the way we have been instructed through Esau. So you work for Esau and his gods while thinking you work for Jacob and his God. This is the concept of what he's going to talk about. So I'm going to play it.
Oh, I used to live right next to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then you know.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm trying to get it to where he... where is the thing? The bar. Let me reset it.
The Vatican run the world.
Figure this out. Most people don't digest this. They're the largest single stockholder in the world. They own the most property in the world that pays no taxes. Every school, every Catholic church. I mean, there's an organization a lot deeper than them called the Solidarity.
I'm not familiar with that.
Well, nobody
the Solidarity.
It's a 2,000-year-old club.
It's a club.
It's a club. And it's in the catacombs of the Vatican. You know, the Vatican's a city within itself.
I know. I used to live right next to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then you know.
I mean, I don't know
But
like
most people don't know it, but I'm telling you.
So they meet down there, you're saying?
That's where they are. They only meet there, period.
Right. Okay.
They're very high-level profile people throughout the world. You get invited to be in it. Who's running the world? I think they are.
Wow.
When you think of what they control and what they do, it's amazing.
I have Drake's phone number. Drake?
Sorry. Okay. All right. So then let me go to what he's talking about. Let's go to Matthew 24. This is what they were angry about when nGanga-nZambi. This is why you see what he's saying is this 2,000-year-old club that he's talking about is responsible now for creating. So when I go to this guy, his name is Rabbi Finklestein, he's going to break down the solidarity even more. And I'm gonna only do a portion of it, but he's giving you. That's why it says Christians listen up, because what he's going to tell you is you are teaching a lie. And then I'm going to go to the guy who says that Christianity is the anti-Messiah. Now watch this.
You know, I've got a question, and I yes, it is a problem, but you see, I've always wondered, how did you Jews ever get control of the i.e. Christian churches in this country? It's always baffled me to a varying degree, Rabbi Finklestein. You have your synagogue out there in New York on the East Coast, but I'm wondering, how did you ever totally get control of these Christian churches who at one time told their congregations to stay away from you Jews. How did that happen?
Well, you know, our father Lucifer, the number one thing of all the organizations out there on the earth that we would want to infiltrate and take over of Ugoyim, obviously would be the churches. So we attacked them first, and we attacked them most. And we infiltrated the Catholic Church right from the very beginning. Why do you think the Pope and all the cardinals and the bishops were a yarmulke? The white race never figures this out. And so then we took all your books that had all your scriptures in there, and we burned them. And then we wrote them in Latin.
Okay, so the problem is he's talking like from the perspective that he is, when they say synagogue, remember I talk about synagoga. Synagoga is, or synagogue is the French adoration for sin of God, meaning that they are talking as if they are the bloodline. Okay, it is going to be like I showed you, and I talk about it with Josephus. It's the people. That's why they don't read the scripture where it says he speaks when he was singing Ele Ele Sabatani. You see them say, oh, he's talking to his people. That right there, that line does not hit Christians at all. That there's a difference between the bloodline and the converted people. And then when he went to say, you teach the children to break the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. We had a group of Bantus, Banabeto of Isolele, this is why they're covering this up, who are also Malewi or Levites, who did not like the fact that they were being told what to do by Yes'ayah. But then you had the people who came through the converted war between Rome and Greece. This is what they're not talking about. The Phoenicians. They came in there during the time of Antiochus, proclaiming to be the bloodline descendants of Magdana, Dan. And we bought it, hook, line, and sinker. That right there is why the world today is messed up. Because that was the Bantu people's fault right there. When we said, okay, no. And at that point, you have to realize in order to even consider that they were the people, their complexion would have had to be different than what it is today. That's also part of the lie. Okay? They knew the law, statutes, and commandments that leprosy was considered against the Most High's law, which is why they changed it for the curse of Cain to be a skin-eating disorder versus a complexion disorder. Okay? As you see when he's talking, our father Lucifer. Okay? What was Lucifer's biggest thing? He was no longer the image and likeness of the Most High after he fell. That's why they have the image of the gods throughout history, like Saturn and Jupiter and Mars. Why do you think they look the way they do? Because that's Baal. That's why they covered up what happened to Cain and Abeli. After he killed Abeli, what happened there, which is in the legend of the Bayuda or the Jews. But then they say, well, this book is garbage. Well, why do they say that? Because what happens is, and it goes back to why they want to call the Hamitic tribes, who happen to be the Egyptians, you know, they want to call the brother of Cush white. When Cush, the name Cush literally means black. Okay? Why does this have an impact like he's saying? He said, we got control of the churches. So when you get control of the churches, you control what they preach. And you work for them. Okay? Now, he even said we control everything. This is not coming from us, okay? This is coming from them. Now they can say this guy is being scapegoated, but he didn't tell the full truth because he's going to tell the pastor that Seth was a white man. No, he was not. And Seth was a black man. That's where they came up with the whole concept of evolution from monkeys. We know this because when the South African government said that they were against Israel, they said the monkeys are what? The monkeys are judging us. They call the South Africans monkeys. You see now there's this big hubbub about how LeBron James, this is how they stir up the trouble, by the way. He's portrayed as an ape. You know why? Because LeBron James comes from the tribe of Judah. He actually resembles the face of Simon Toko, the original one. LeBron James, why he's called, his name in our language means Yakuba, Jacob. Yakobo, James, Koba is also the one who grabbed the heel of Yesway. See, they put him out there. You don't even know. That basketball player is the lineage of the Bantu people, of Banabeto Isolele. Okay? So when they, in 1968, when they created this whole movie series called The Planet of the Apes, then you saw those, when they called the Forbidden Zone with those apes that were on the cross, those X's, as fearful. Those resemble the crucifixion crosses that they put in your face when they did that. The X's, because the X really was the Most High's. The Kingdom of Kongo was the kingdom of the real X. That's why when they did the mockery of the X-Men, they had that's why when Stan Lee said, oh, when I made the X-Men, I was using Martin Luther King and all these others but he was also using Toko and Kumbango, but he couldn't say their names. And why did he say that? Because he's showing people that was the kingdom. Like the flag of the Kingdom of Kongo was the X. Okay? That's when Ptah or Cain, he pretended to be the Most High with the red X. That's why we talk about there's a good X and there's a bad X. Okay? This is what people don't understand, is that many symbols can have dual meanings. Now, I'm not going to include necessarily the Ankh and all these other things because I know, and this is just my revelation, that the Ankh goes back to Lilith and not Mama Ewa. But hey, that's on you. If you still want to believe otherwise, that's your choice. Okay? Because she was really the first woman, and they declare her their mother. Okay? But then they tricked this. When he said that we took the books and we burned them and we translated it into Roman, now she becomes your mother too, which is Ashira, as I did in the last teaching. But you don't know that she's the one that's devouring the children of the Most High. Okay? And this is what it's all about. This is what they got mad about. Now remember, it's Yesway. If they want to say Jesus, whatever, we did, Masa did a teaching on that. You can still, people call out when they're in time of trouble. You did it, we all did it, okay? It wasn't like he wasn't there. It's you only had half of him. That's why the Christian church don't understand their milk drinkers. Oh, let me go what this guy's saying now. Wait, sorry. Let me start it over. I don't know why this thing doesn't let me move the bar.
This, I look him right in the eye and say, my friend, I know who you are. You're the Antichrist. There is no doubt in my mind that the Antichrist is Christianity. Because everything that the Lord Jesus Christ has instructed us to do, they have said, don't do it. When he said, seek first the kingdom which is within you, oh, don't do that. Practice the single eye, oh, don't do that. You take away the key because you don't enter within yourself. Cast your net to the right side. Oh, don't do all of that stuff. That's all New Age. Everything. He said, don't pray to me. They say pray to him. He said, don't ask me for anything. They say ask him. Everything that he has set forth to do, they have said don't do it, and yet they cover themselves in garbs and splash their name all over. Definitely a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Okay, and so what he's saying is that right there is Simon the Sorcerer. That's why I'm saying it. Mfumu Yesway, he say Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, whatever. That's why I told people, just because you say Christ or Christian doesn't mean it's the right Christ. You have been conditioned to think that it is him when you do the opposite. You don't seek first the kingdom of heaven like you think. No. If you did that, then the world would really come after you. Okay? So those of us who have learned, no, I didn't leave the church. I left the lie. Because in the Christian churches, you are not seeking the kingdom of heaven like you think. You are seeking what they have taught you to seek. That's why you don't know his name. That's why you don't know the way, but you think that you do, because the solidarity, as the guy was talking about it 2,000 years ago, they went after the spiritual temple. And the spiritual temple belonged to nGanga-nZambi. That's why we sing this song. nGanga-nZambi, yes, kese yimbila. Kese yimbila means praise. The spirit kese literally means power. Kese yimbila, inzo yanzambi. That's why now, because our people, once again, didn't pay attention and think, use your head. Okay, the knowledge, that's why he said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So what he's saying is Christianity is in fact the opposite of what the Messiah came to preach. So then what you're doing is you're doing exactly what Mfumu or Yesway told the Sanhedrin. You teach the children to break the law. So while Christians think that they are following the law, they are lawless. It's like, no, you're always breaking the laws. Because the concept is, because the solidarity or the wealthy elites know who left the Father 500 years ago, the concept is they need our power and they need the wealth. That's why they lied about Africa, because Africa is the engine of the beast. Meaning the financial backing, even like South America and all these other places where you find the Most High's wealth in abundance, they had to make people think it's scarce. That's part of the biggest lie that they did about 100-something years ago. And then on top of that, they used the Christians as their scapegoat to justify what they did. And Islam, they did the same thing, but they were battling each other over what? The wealth and the distribution. And then, of course, when you get into the other religions, why were they battling with them and why do they still exist today? Is because they know at the top of everything, that all man-made religions are really Lucifer. But they're not telling you that. If they told you that, poof, the magic, the spell is over. And then the world will understand they got played. Even though you've had people in the music industry come out and tell you that they changed our history, they did a lie, they got scapegoated. You got people telling you that the people in front of you aren't who they think they are, but they got scapegoated to tell you that. Like I said, this man is being scapegoated to tell you, you are the Christian. That's when you talk about Adolf Hitler. Now, I'm not saying that I support him, but his creation, you don't understand, was to destroy the Simon Toko list, what I like to call the Mayamona list. The Mayamona list, one who can see, is the list of the people who were sealed to become like Messiah, which is the objective of what he's talking about with the solidarity. Their goal was to destroy the temple by thinking that you have the truth, you teaching the lie. Okay, let's go back to Matthew 24 in the correct context. Okay, then Yesway, who went out of the temple, was walking with his Balangoki or disciples, approached him to show him the buildings of the temple. Yesway, Mfumu Yisu said, don't you see all these things? Truly I will tell you that not one will remain with one stone upon the other that has not been crumbled. Okay, right there is where the 2,000-year-old club went to work. Then when he sat on the Mount of Olives, which we now know is where that's at, the Abalangogi came to him privately. Tell us when all these things will occur and what must take place before your presence at the end of this lifetime. Yesway said, be careful not to be deceived by anyone. Okay, that right there is what started with the wizard. He already began the process of tricking people that he was the imposter, that he was the real people. Because many, and I see said, many will come in my name, say I am the anointed of the Messiah. That started 2,000 years ago. The Christians think they're following the one who was not the imposter. No, you've been following the imposter since Nero, when they incorporated the Julian calendar. Like that's why he said we attacked the Catholic Church from the very beginning, which was really the church of what? Laodicea. Then you had the other 6 churches that they had that were also being attacked. That's why he went down and started telling the embassy, hey, tell these churches to get their act together. And then they talked about where Pergamon, where the synagogue of Satan is, still there, that has now spread its branches and tentacles out like a spider web all over the world. Like that guy, like the Italian said, if you want to think who runs the world, I think they do. And he got on his black and white because that's the Masonic, thing, because he's part of them. So, what they're showing you is this is the show, because you're worshiping the pig god, the dog god, and the frog god, masquerading as the God. Because when you don't worship the creator, you might as well be praying to Anubis. That's what it is. You might as well be praying to Baal. That's what you are doing, because Moloch, which really means brother, it's the wrong brother. It's not the brother of truth. It's the brother of lies, but he will come and tell a half truth, but there's no truth in him. Okay? That's the concept of the real interpretation of what Paolo, who people say didn't exist, even though I've had an encounter. It's like, yes, he did. But the sorcerer is mimicking. That's why when you start reading the scriptures, the Spirit will say, Paul said this, Paul didn't say that. Paul said this, Paul didn't say that. And then they'll take you to the other scriptures. Okay? So now, when we look at what happened with Tobit, we're going to go to Tobit. Actually, I wanted to start with Revelation 16. All praises. And I heard a voice from the sanctuary say to the 7 angels, remember, there's these 7 holy angels, Basantu, these are Maliki Kongo. Go and pour out on the earth the 7 bowls of nGanga-nZambi, of God's fury. Now, what God are you referring to? Oh, yeah, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, who is that? What is his name? What did we call him? There is where you see the solidarity scratched. They put this name, and we know when you go and read this, You'll even find it as we keep reading. His name was nZambi. Okay? This is where we talk about the 12 tribes. Yakobi, which is what you call Jacob, Watumisa Bana Bandi Bababa Kala Ya Wovova Ya Nzamento Kidi Ya Lukamba Nyoso Yulina Mona Mulumbu Binakwiza. Okay? Now if we go, oh man, I hate when it does that. Where did I go? Let me go back there. Now when we go to Genesis 49, and Jacob called upon his sons and called them to gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which will befall you in the last days. Okay? He's actually giving you. He gave all the things that would happen to every last one of them as to what would happen at the end of time. So don't tell me that they didn't know what was going to happen. He said, gather yourselves together and hear ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto you Yisrael. Now we know the word that's used here is Yisrael. See, Yisraeli. Okay, he says, Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and in the beginning of my strength, the excellence of dignity and the excellence of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel. So he's giving future prophecies of each tribe, because thou wentest up to my father's bed, then defilest thou it, and went up to my couch. Simeon and Levi are brethren, and instruments of cruelty are in their inhabitants. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly. Mine honor, be not thou united. In their anger they slew a man, and in their slothfulness they dig down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. So he's showing you, he's talking about the end times in the last days. He's looking forward into the future. This is the curse of why Bantu people don't know who we are. He's telling them that they were going to mess everything up. And this is what Omakongo even said in Matthew 24. This is what he was talking about. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Yala, that's what we say, Luvumamu Yala, Yuda, Lutala Yuda, okay? Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. My son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, as an old lion who shall rouse him. But see, it says the scepter shall not depart from Judah. That's why now nobody can replace this tribe. Nobody. Christians are deceived, okay? Nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh comes. Shilombo. Shiloh or Shilombo is where we get. Now, if we go to where the word he's going to use, you go down to verse 10. Watch this. Umvala akimfumu kiyina vegama muyuda ko ka nkwa wangiadulu mumalu mandi ko nate ya kankwisa ya silo. And this is where you get the also word chilo, chilombo, ye bantu, banakun kuntu mumana. Okay? See, they don't teach Christians to read this at all because it tells you you cannot, that the replacement theology is crap right here. Okay? Binding his foal unto the vine and his ass's colt unto the choice of vine, he washed his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. Do you not understand that this is the symbolism that would now be used when Ascendancy would walk? And why he came in on the ass, which is connected to what? Like I said, the Anansi, bottom, Cain. And why we talk about the grapes and the wine, which also we know is also palm wine. His eyes shall be red with wine and his teeth white with milk. Okay? Do you see why they would say you could see a black man when he smiled? when his eyes were open? Why did we get drunk though? We got drunk with the wine of the what? The harlot. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea and shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Sidon. Okay? That's why you go all the way up the east gate, up to that place that we talk about, the east gate. And that's why we had the fight with the Philistines, because we controlled the eastern border of Africa. Okay? That's the Suez Canal and all this garbage that's going on there. You don't understand. Lusaka, or Issachar, is a strong ass couching down between two burdens. And he saw the rest was good and that the land that was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear and became a servant unto tribute. Okay? That's why Lusaka is a servant. Basura, Wizado. Servant is Sadisa. Sadi. Okay? Yeah, they don't want people to know this stuff. Dana, now watch this. Dana shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Isolele. Dana shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse's heel, so that his rider shall fall backwards. I have waited for the salvation of our Mfumu. Ngada, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Aseli, which is Asher, his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Naphtali is a hind that let loose. He giveth goodly words. Yosephu is fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by well, whose branches run over the wall. The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him, and he hated him. At his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong. By the hands of the mighty Mfumu of Yokubi, from thence is the shepherd, the stone of Isolele. The stone, Tusadi. Look at this word stone. That's why you have to be careful who you're calling stone. Ditadi. Tadi, stone. That's what we said. That's why you can get an imposter toddy and a real toddy. It's very easy to get tricked. Now he said, even by the nGanga-nZambi, thy father, who shall be helped thee, and by the end he shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above. Under the blessing of breast, the blessing of the Father have prevailed above the blessing of my progenitors unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be the head of Yosephu and the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Benjamin shall revene as a wolf. That's why we have these flags and the symbolism that they have shown with the different tribes. But then you have the 13th tribe telling you that all of these symbols belong to them. It's like, okay, because like I said, they can say whatever they want, but watch what's going to happen here really soon. Okay, that's why we say they can have no peace. That's why you see what's fighting in the Middle East. The Middle East cannot be at peace. Nobody can broker peace for them. Because for one, our country and all the rest of the world, like this guy's saying, your God is Lucifer, whether you want to believe it or not. So nobody can have peace and solve anything through the imposter. It's not possible. Okay? So you can go to your congressmen and your politicians and whoever you want to say, they're always going to do a tap dance. Whether they know it or not, they're getting led in a circle because they're never going to be working themselves out of a job. That's the concept. They created the world to where the wealthy will never work themselves out of a job. That's why crime, you're going to find out they created crime. You do not need police if you solve crime. Let me say that again. You do not need police if you solve crime. Therefore, the world is meant to destroy itself. That's the whole concept, even with teachers. If you have knowledge, then why do you really need a teacher for? That's why Masindisi was like, hey, if you know, nobody can know everything. You're always a student, but it's like, hey, you don't need me. Now you know how to behave and do it the Most High's way. Now go do what I do and more. That's the real reason why he knew when he said it is finished, you don't even know what he really meant. It goes back to what he said. When he told his mother and father, I am about my father's business. And when he put his head down, he said, it is finished. And his spirit was actually speaking out of his body at that time. Okay. And that mouth was moving like a ventriloquist, like you see with the dummy, but he wasn't there. So it's like that. It's like when he said it is finished, it had nothing to do with the way Christians have been deceived by. He said, I came to do my father's work, and now I finished it. That's what he meant. They have taken it way out of context and everything. His job was to become the spiritual temple, and he finished it. He did not what? Allow the devil to do what? Cause him to sin. That's why he cannot become sin. The solidarity that he's talking about, the 2,000-year-old solidarity, they have made you stupid with this. Okay? That's why these Simon Toko never was a hypocrite. Therefore, as an embassy, that when he came to teach the Most High's way, he finished it. That's why they don't tell you all the other things that he did while he was here in the other books. Okay? That's why they're mocking him as now the three. That's why they're mocking us, because he finished the Most High's work for us to go and do it, and then we gave it back to the idiots. When I say idiots, I'm talking about the false gods. That's what happened 500 years ago. And see, Rome is trying to say, we represent the one who finished. No, you represent the one who destroyed the one who said he finished. And the Protestant church never changed that, because when they went in there and they started calling people heretics that tried to make it right, you never fixed it at all. And then the church itself, the apostate church, was the nGanga-nZambi who then went under Rome. So Rome caused the apostasy. Let me say it again. Rome caused the apostasy, and the Sanhedrin and the secret societies and all the things like that guy, that rabbi is telling you, you never fixed it back. He even goes further to say that we started calling people heretics after the protest. So if he's saying that they now control the churches, then there's no way you're talking to the Father. This is why I told people, you're worshiping the wrong guy. Okay? So he's talking about all the things that's going to happen to his children in the last days. When is that? This is why we went through all the things that we went through, but we still had these things on us. But they're using it for their benefit, not for ours. Okay? So the gifts that the Most High was giving over, like, see, I'm not really, people talking about I'm a prophet. No, I'm not. I was never trained to be a prophet. What I was trained to do, and I didn't know that this was the problem, was to be a watchman. But the people who were training me to sabotage myself without even realizing it. This is what the world doesn't understand. No, when you come with certain gifts, this is what the house Negro was crafty with. They knew what each one of these people were supposed to be here for. And the concept was to make it so they don't ever do the job. You do our job the way we want it, not the way the Most High wants, because they were angry for being kicked out. And for generations, and those who had to suffer and what they went through in slavery, okay, they got bitter. And they're still bitter. And they're very bitter against our Creator because they didn't like it that we got kicked out. But then what they did was we got bitter, and they used the ignorance of the Europeans to say, now you represent the church. No, they didn't. They were being used as the bag man. Okay? Like I said, you're holding the bag for them while you destroy the temple. That's why when Toko came and told the people, you worship Nimrod, they said, you can't tell them that. Now, that's why they went after him so hard. Kimbangu said the same thing. That's why they went after them. It's like, no, you cannot tell these people that. Okay? That's why when JFK, watch this. Let me get the big bomb. JFK was supposed to him and the UN were supposed to turn the world over to Simon Toko. The Solidarity said, no way. I don't think so. They knew what was going on in Africa with Castro and Russia even then. And what they did with Mobutu and all these other people. And they knew the role of what happened with Patrice Lumumba is he was going to take his authority and hand it over to Toko. That's why he was with Toko. That's why when we talk about, Toko said, Mobutu declined my invitation. Why? Because he said, if I go and I interact with this guy, I'm going to end up like Mobutu. And you want to know who was running that? Take a wild guess who was running that whole organization. That they have now admitted it. And they said, well, what are you going to do about it? Yeah, so the CIA was running it. What you going to do about it? So was MI6. And don't think the KGB at that time wasn't involved. The KGB was all over that. Okay? Because when you saw how they were when they were financing the different sides, they made it look like they were enemies when they really weren't. You don't even know this. Nikita Khrushchev was a Mason just like Kennedy. Well, Kennedy was really the Solidarity. He was above the Masons, okay, because his family was part of the Solidarity, the Illuminati, okay? And that's when they said, whoa, who is this guy? Especially after they covered up when he brought down the angels to kick the Belgians out. Because the concept was that was to begin the process of unifying the continent by getting rid of the unification of the continent was supposed to happen when he kicked out the Belgians and made all of the colonial powers shake. But then Britain said, no, we're not going to shake. That's why they kind of kept a hold on South Africa, and they went with their apartheid using the Dutch people. They kept they call it the Afrikaners to bring. That's how you ended up putting people like Biko and Mandela in prison. Okay, because it was the prophecy of Kimbangu that shook up the whole system. Black should become white, white should become black. Okay, when he did his hand, and they were like, "Hey, no. Because the concept was it was going to fulfill Revelation 3 and 9. No, we ain't bowing down to none of y'all. Forget that." Okay, that's when they brought Hitler on the scene to finish what the Kaiser actually. Man, you don't even know the Kaiser was the start of it. Hitler was the next phase, and now you got that lady. You don't even know what Merkel was doing. Oh my gosh, Angela Merkel, woo, and and those three women, the lady who was running the prime minister of Britain. Man, you don't even know. Tony Blair. What was his name? The guy who had the funny hair. I can't call his name now. Let me see if I can pull him up. Britain prime ministers. The one who just got in trouble. Boris Yeltsin. Is that was his name? So you had this lady here, like Churchill. Oh wow, people gonna pass out when they find out what Churchill was doing, especially during the time of RF Franklin FDR. Oh, it's gonna be a mess. What's his name? Let me get all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, Boris Johnson. Now this lady here, Theresa May. Woohoo, boy. Man, you don't know, because her, and then you had this lady here. I know why she didn't stay too long. Because this is the guy they needed to, this is the fall guy. He's going to be their fall guy when this guy, because King William, he's going to be gone. William is going to take the throne really soon. So from here, let me show you. So let's go all the way back to when Toko. Okay, so when Toko was around, Toko was born in 1918. So then from this guy, Bonar Law, to Stanley Baldwin, all the way down to this guy here, this guy that's called Rishi Sunak, okay? They all know about Angola and the hidden secret behind the prophecy that they was told by the third secret of Fatima, like I talked about, that they had to make sure the Brits, because when you look at the fact that all of these people, let's see, who was the monarchy before Elizabeth II? I forget the name. So when you had Before she became the queen, let's go all the way. The solidarity, if you want to call it, all of these people are connected to this. The problem is they got the images wrong for many of them. You're going to find out they were dark-skinned people, especially King James. All right, so when you go to, so George of Windsor, okay, he was 1936. So when you go back to, George V, he knew exactly what happened with the third secret of Fatima. When the sun danced in Portugal and all these other things, okay, he was well aware of it. And he is part of the solidarity that said, ain't no way we're going to tell because he was head of the Protestant, you remember the Protestant Church of England. If you don't understand, they run all of the Protestant around the world. The Protestant Church of England runs the Protestant churches. If you don't know that, you better recognize, okay, they run all the Protestant churches out of the Church of England. And he's the head, he was the head of it. Okay? And then at that time, you had the Pope. What's his name? Pope. Okay, then you had Benedict. At that time, he was running the Catholic Church, which, let me tell you, he was still controlling this guy, George V. If you don't think he wasn't, man, you're going to be deceived. So Benedict was still over him. And when you go back to the Imam of Islam, let's see if we can find out who he was. See, it's hard because their years do differently. Let's see. Let's go to. Let me see. Let me just do this like this. Who was running Islam in 1917? The Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks were running Islam during it was the Bolsheviks. Let's see. The Bolsheviks in Islam was going on with that. It was the Turks. Yeah, the Ottoman Turks. That's why they had Istanbul. When was Istanbul? When they changed the name, it was renamed in 1930, and it was the Turk, the Istanbul known as Turk. So the Turks, the Ottoman Turks, the Ottoman Empire was in charge of Islam. They knew about what happened in Angola. And they're like, ain't no way. Because see, then you go to when the Nation of Islam was founded in 1930. Let's see. Founding of the Nation of Islam. Okay. So now the Nation of Islam is founded on July the 4th, 1930 in Detroit, Michigan. It's an interesting thing to found a religion on America's birthday that is supposed to be Christian-based in their belief, when the July the 4th itself is going to be the greatest cover-up, because it wasn't even supposed to be July the 4th anyway. It was actually supposed to be July the 2nd. Okay? And the concept is they founded it because of Simon Toko and Kimbangu's prophecy. You don't even know the truth. Oh, you don't know the truth. And the Nation of Islam and the Hebrew Israelites came right along the same time. It's like this. Watch this. Founding of the Hebrew Israelites. It tells you okay, they had what was called William Saunders and Frank Cherry. And the reason why they came into being was because of Toko Kimbangu. This is going to be when it says the dragon saw the sign. Okay, Revelation. All right. So basically, it says they moved into Brooklyn. It said Matthew incorporated his congregation in 1930. Now, do you think it's a coincidence that the Hebrew Israelites and the Nation of Islam are created in 1930? I don't think so. Okay. Especially when this guy whose name was William Saunders happened to be involved with the Prince Hall Freemasons. You don't even know. I'm telling you, I know every form, even with the Eastern, the so-called the true founder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church was also a Mason. Okay? Every single one of these people saw an angel. And the problem was Lucifer knew he had, because like I said, John Wesley and all these other people were involved with the secret societies because they knew the prophecy of what took place in 1485 when King Nzinga was ritualized with the Portuguese women and signed over. They threw a party that was very much promiscuous according to these times. Oh yeah, it was like, if you go watch that original Robin Hood movie, not the original, the new one they made when they showed the Pope, when they showed him coming over, Robin of Locksley and all that, and then they had the people come in and throw the party for the cardinal. Oh, it was like that. I mean, it was bad because see, even then Pope Innocent, who was then turning over to the Borgia Pope, you don't even know why they created carnivals. And the Renaissance period was very much, when you're going to find out the Renaissance period was like Woodstock on steroids. Yeah. Okay. It was like Woodstock on steroids. You had people running around naked just like they did in Woodstock that were Catholics and doing some of the most debauchery things. Okay. And so the Lucifer, even then, has deceived the whole world about the way that they were killing people who wouldn't follow this a certain way. The concept is everything was about destroying the spiritual temple. That's why they did what they did to us when they were doing all the buck breaking, when they were having children sleep with their fathers and their mothers, when they were selling people to different places and breeding people out like animals. This was spreading the false spirits that we now are having problems with today, to where we have turned on each other on purpose. Okay, and I know I've gone too long. I'm going to play the song. Again, I don't own it, because I was going to get into we're going to get into him next time. And this is what Tobit said. Tobit, he said, well, watch this. All my life I have been honest and try to do what was right. I often give money to help needy relatives and other Bayuda, this word did not exist, who have been deported with me to Nineveh, the capital of Assyria. So once again, we're in Babylon. We never learn. When I was young, I lived in northern Isolele. That means there had to be a southern, and that's why we're telling you it was way down. Okay? And what do you say? All the tribes of Isolele were supposed to offer sacrifices in Salem. It was the one city that nGanga-nZambi had chosen from among all the Isolele cities as the place where his temple was to be built. Now, this is why they covered up where that temple is, because they know it's in nGanga-Kongo. The sorcerer himself knows that it's in nGanga-Kongo. And that's why when they scapegoated that guy who was talking about when Muhammad built his first mosque, that he had people face Salem, and they said, why doesn't it face the location that you now call Jerusalem today? He said it's facing towards Africa. The one in China said, well, he said it's going along a meridian, but why is it facing the one in China? He said, why did he say that? Because the earth is not what you think. Okay, it was facing nGanga-Kongo. That's why. And then they said the one they found in Jordan, the now current Jordan, they said it's facing towards Africa. Why? They couldn't figure this out. But they coded it. No, they know the temple of Solomon. Solomon's temple is in the middle, in the center. Okay? And they coded it in the movie Solomon's Mines. That's why I was like, why in the heck? I had to ask the question, wait, Solomon's temple, why the mines all the way? Because they lied. The Solomon's mines are in the Congo, and they never run out. That's why they created this false scarcity. The oil, the coal, the cobalt, the iridium that they really use, and that's the most expensive one. They don't want people to have what they call the Zohar. They call it Zohar. We call it something else. This type of stuff is all there. Okay? That's why they know they don't want to hand it back over to anybody, because they're getting rich. It's not, they think Saudi Arabia ain't just getting rich off oil, people. They lie. All right. I was the 10th of my cattle and freshly clipped. See, this is when we talk about 10%. Watch this. I was the only one of my family who regularly went to Salem to celebrate the religious festivals as the law of Masa commands everyone to do. I would hurry off to Salama, and with the first part of my harvest, the firstborn of my animals, a 10th of my cattle, the freshly clipped wool from my sheep. Then I would stand before the altar of temple and give these offerings to the priests. What is the word for priests? Not Kohanim, man. I'm telling you that word, we did not use it. That came from the other people. nGanga-nZambi. Okay? Then I would stand before the altar in the temple of nGanga-nZambi and give these offerings to the priests, the descendants of Aloni, Aaron. These people are telling you that he talking to Rabbi Finklestein. This guy's saying we the descendants of Aaron. I have a cousin named Aaron that look more like that Aaron than the one that they telling you. Okay? He come from the 12 tribes. Excuse me. He comes from the 12 tribes. And I got a cousin named, and the word was alone, no R. I gave a tenth of my grain, wine, olive oil, pomegranates, figs, and other fruits to the Malawi Levites who serve. So here we go. That's why they don't put this in the scriptures. What is your offering? You have been deceived by this whole thing about my money. 10% of what I make with my job. No, that money is worthless to the Most High because look what he's supposed to give. And then if you had gold, you give that. Every year except the 7th year when the land was at rest. Do you not understand that this is still in effect? Why do you think they rotate? Do you know the real reason why the farmers rotate the land? Okay. One section has to be at rest. I would sell a 2/10 of my possessions and spend the money in Solomon on the festival meal. But every 3rd year, I would give a 3rd tithe to widows. Now watch this, to widows and orphans and to foreigners living among my people, and we would eat the festival meal together. This is what Masendesi was teaching the Balongoki when he became the spiritual temple. This is the offering you're supposed to give the Most High. You don't even know. Okay? This is the offering. He did. What did he say? I did not come to abolish the law of the prophets, but to fulfill them. I did this in keeping with the law of Massa, with Deborah and the mother of my grandfather, Ananiah, who taught me to obey. When I grew up, I married Anna, a member of my own tribe. We had a son and named him Tobias. It's actually Tobiah. Later, I was taken captive and deported to Assyria, and that is how I come to live in Nineveh. While we live in Nineveh, all my relatives, now who would be doing this? This is the spirit of Nimrod. This is Cain, man. You don't understand. While we live in Nineveh, all my relatives and other Bayuda used to eat the same kind of food as the other people who lived there. But I refused to do so. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. What did he not eat? Since I took seriously the commands of the Most High God, nGanga-nZambi, he made Emperor Shalmaneser respect me, and I was placed in charge of purchasing all the emperor's supplies. What did the Most High do? He made the emperor respect him. Before the emperor died, I made regular trips to the land of Media to buy things for him. Media, this is where you get the word Media. Media means food. Oh, yeah. Oh, Medea, how you doing, Medea? Man, you don't even know that's food. For him, that's why you watch the media, because they're soaking in all the... Once when I was in cities of rage, and I left some bags of money with Gabriel's brother, and asked him to keep them with me. There were more than 600 pounds of silver coins in those bags. When Shalmaneser died, his son Sennacherib succeeded him as emperor. It soon became so dangerous to travel the roads that I could no longer go there. While Shalmaneser was still emperor, I took care of my own people wherever they were in need. If they were hungry, I shared my food with them. If they needed clothes, I gave some of my own. Whenever I saw that the dead body of one of my peoples had been thrown outside by the city wall, I gave it a decent burial. One day, Sennacherib cursed nGanga-nZambi, the king of heaven. nGanga-nZambi punished him and had retreat from Judah. And his way back to Media, he was so furious that he killed many Israelites, Banabetu. But I secretly removed the bodies and buried them, and Sennacherib later searched for the bodies. He could not find them. Then someone from Nineveh told the emperor that I was the one who had been burying his victims. As I soon realized that the emperor knew all about me, my life was in danger. I became frightened, so I ran away and hid. Everything I owned was seized and put in the royal treasury. My wife Anna, my son Tobias, were all I had left. See? So this shows you, oh no, Lucifer just runs away from all the Christians because they know Jesus. What are you talking about? This is a king that worships the Babylonian gods. And he's out here killing us because the Most High punished him. Are you serious, people? Yeah, that's the dog god. This is the lie that they have been preaching. Everything is about destroying the Most High's chosen people. They are cursing our Father, so then they are cursing you. But then they secretly go and bless us so they can receive the blessings, and then we curse ourselves by always breaking the first commandment. We always do this. You are tricked into thinking that you're obeying the laws when you are lawless. Why? Because they benefit from it. This is the secret. As long as the children of nGanga-nZambi are lawless, they get the payments. That's why they don't want the people who know the name Nzambi and Pungu to worship our way, but their way. And this is continuing, even in this is why they created the sports. This is why they created the gambling and the entertainment industry. This is why they created all these different distractions. This is why they split the knowledge of education between the church and the schools. It has nothing to do with anybody else but us. We are the ones that are giving them the power. You see, because when they knew Toko and Kimbangu were going to start, that's why I said, don't think they didn't know they was coming. Lucifer was like, hey, we got to stop these people. That's the whole meaning behind when we read Revelation 12. You don't understand what was going on. That this was going on over the last century or more. When we go to Revelation 12, this is why they had to keep making it up for the Christians. When is this supposed to happen? They knew. A great sign appeared in heaven, and a woman clothed with the sun and with the moon, and under her feet, and the crown of the 12 on her head, this is representing Omakongo, by the way. She was pregnant and cried out in birth pain, and she gave birth. Then another sign appeared in the heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his head. 7 crowns. I told you they have these kings right now. His tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. Okay, that's fallen angels. That's Maliki Sitani. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth so that they devoured the child the moment she was born. This happened in 1917 or 1918, around that time. And then they tried to kill him with the smallpox. She gave birth to a son, a male child, Toko. Let me put the word. Let me see if it'll let me do it. Male child. That's why we say Kitoko. See, they won't let you say it. Mwana Bakala. Now, if I put this, see if it's going to let me do it. Kitoko. Kitoko Mingi. Beautiful. Cute, handsome, attractive. That's why we called the Messiah Kitoko. Yesway Kitoko, because he was handsome. But see, Simon Toko, he was marred. Okay, so when you say he was ugly in Kikongo, oh wait, gotta switch it around. Yambi, or bad. Yambi. So that's why we say, oh, well, Yambe means evil. No, Zambe, that's why we said. It's the way you change the way that it inflects, and it changes the meaning. I learned that about Kikongo. Yambi means ugly. Yambe means almighty. Okay? And see, now this is going to talk about what took place between, and you can read this, it's called the Josephus book, Sacred Text. He's going to talk about how Antipater is hated of all men, is hated of all men, and now the king opposes the sons. Antipater. Remember I showed you Patar or Pater is the top of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Pater. This is Antipater, meaning that we are against Cain or Ptah. And he's going to talk about how Herod came into being through the time of the former king Alexander and Cleopatra and all these other things, okay? So the Sanhedrin said, we recognize Herod as king. That's why they said, no, we don't recognize, or Caesar, we don't recognize anybody else. So when Yesway was saying, this guy is not the Most High's king, they said, no, we disagree. And that's the main reason why they wanted to destroy him, because he was against what the Herod and them was doing. Okay? The problem is they made you think Herod comes from the bloodline when he didn't. He came from the Greeks and the Phoenician connection. Okay? So that's why it talks about the war of the Bayuda, or the history of the destruction of Solomon. This was created because we mixed ourselves with the wrong way. All right? So now, that's part of the reason, and I'll get back into these books later because I won't wait too long. But, you know, this is why we're getting into the problems that we're having as a people. Okay? It was always the 2,000-year objective for the revenge of what Masindisi did. The Umbasi, that's why they changed some of his story. That's why they're giving you the wrong interpretations. But yet you're going to stand there in churches and synagogues and mosques and everything like that as our own people and listen to the wolves in sheep's clothing give you half-truths. And then you come and tell the people who are saying, no, we ran away from the wolf in sheep's clothing, that you're crazy. That's what the days of Noah mean. That's why people will just follow trends and don't ask why. Why are we doing this? No, it's what we do. Why are we doing this? See, Christianity itself was a trend. You don't understand that. Oh, we're following this guy, the Christ, the Messiah. Which version? Because there was two. That's why Nero killed the people who followed the real version and loved the people who followed the imposter. And it never changed even through the Flavian Empire. That's why when the Byzantine Empire, which was technically Magog, went to war against this, they're like, hey, this is when they had the battle of the bishops. And that's why just because somebody calls himself a bishop doesn't mean that they're with the right Christ. They could be the bishop of the sorcerer. That's why they said be careful of those wearing the long robes. You got people now back wearing them long robes again, and you don't even know that they're really working with the Sanhedrin. They're working with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, pretending to be on the side, and they're stabbing us in the back. And this was going on since slavery, when they had the people in the church being controlled by what they preach, and that never stopped. The slavery became employment after the Civil War. They just pay you so they can't, because they kind of pay you a little something, so it's not illegal, but you're still a slave. But then the more that you bought into what they were teaching, they raised the salaries and the payments and all these things, and they said, now you're doing the job. According to whom? Oh, for God. What God? The whole employment system itself is rebranded slavery, and you don't even get it. And that's what the schools are actually conditioning people to be. And then you get to go higher based upon if you buy into their lies that they created versus the truth that they suppressed. They suppressed the truth so bad that the world is going to find out you were going way deep down in the rabbit hole, into the grave. Because the Mosai is like, I don't even see these degrees that you keep talking about. The same thing they do in the degrees of the secret societies, they incorporate it into the real world. So everybody became an honorary Mason, whether you knew it or not. That's why if you don't worship their God, they go against you. Oh, but we're against the Pope. No, you and the Pope are on the same side. I laugh. This one dude said, we're against the Pope. The Pope is laughing. No, we're the same. Okay? No, you're not. They're not against the Pope because they're the two sides of the same coin. The people who were against the Pope were the Banabeto of Isolele 500 years ago, and they told you to take them into slavery. Because King Nzinga was the opposite of the Pope, who was the false Messiah in masquerade. It's like, hey, they told you to go take the people who were already opposite the Pope into slavery and then tricking them that they need to be saved when we already knew the truth. I'm like, that's how stupid this is. So you destroyed the people that were meant to save you, and then you work for the people who want to destroy you. It's like, oh my gosh, they played you. The people that wanted to destroy you told you the people who needed to save you were bad and wicked and demons, when it was the opposite. And I'm sitting there like, wow. So 500 years ago, everybody picked the wrong side, including the people who should have known better. And now, when the truth came out, they covered it up because Toko replaced the Pope. Oh no, we can't tell him that. And then they created even more imposters off of what he did. Oh, you don't even know. And Kimbangu, they created some imposters there. Now you got a guy talking about, I'm the king. How? You work for them. And you lying about it. Because the sorcerer is always going to say that he's the king of the Jews. The sorcerer always proclaimed this. And the Mosai is like, get the heck up out of here. I'm going to destroy you with fire. No. Okay. The sorcerer can never replace the original. Never. And he was a Bantu like us. And he's going to keep saying this. Okay. That's why Kuso Kongo said, we are the real many. Legion, we are many. We have to be, the Banabetu Visolide have to be against Legion. So you think you're worshiping the Messiah who cast out Beelzebub when you're worshiping the Messiah who is Beelzebub. That's what that guy is saying about Christianity, and Judaism is doing the same thing, and so is Islam. So then you're no different than the Buddhists, than Christian, than the Hindus, and all the other religions. That's why when the Pope brought them together, oh, we are all coexistence. Yeah, you coexisting under Baal, and the Mosai is like, you are all idol worshipers. You don't get it. Every last one of these religion symbols are idols, and some of them are being used as duality. That's why I told you that the star, when they call the Star of David, let me explain it to you. You got the two pyramids, like I said. One has Kongo on top, the other one has Lucifer on top. They took the pyramid of the Most High and it flipped it upside down to where now Kaina, or the people on the bottom, went to the top, and the people on the bottom went to the bottom. That's the way, because it was supposed to be the Kingdom of Kongo is on top. This is what happened with Solomon, what he did. He put us on the bottom. Many of us, he didn't do everybody. He put most of us on the bottom. So now the world thinks everybody's the same. No. You cannot coexist in peace worshiping Baal. It's not possible. This is why they keep playing the good and the bad side against each other. Making the people who think they're doing good, they're always messing up because they're always lawless. And they can still be happy about it and be ignorant and be nice and loving, because anybody can love. But in the name of who? In the name of what? Or in the name of liberty? Liberty is the witch. We're going to be we are the sun. We are liberty. Liberty is the witch. That's the one that's putting out the wine on people and calling them to go crazy. Liberty is another name for Lily. The one who's making the world drunk with the wine and the fornication. That's why you see what's going on. You are bowing down to the phallic. Oh, no, we're not doing that. And to the whore. You're bowing down to the hypocrite and the whore. And they're telling you, no, you're not. if you think I'm lying to you, just look at the world and the people that are in it right now. You think you're not bowing down to the idiot? Look at the society you're living in. Look at what's happening to your children and look at the way the world is so confused. If we're telling you a lie, okay, then why are they making us suffer for telling you this? All of us who are sitting there saying, what the heck? Open your eyes. Put on the glasses, man. Okay? Like they said in They Live, put on the glass. They're fighting us. No! The Holy Spirit went out since the 1920s to show you, hey, stupid, you're going the wrong way. You donkeys out here, stubborn jackasses with the proud hearts and the hypocrites leading the way. You're going down the pit. Following the pit, you're going to the lechon, man. They're saying in Spanish, you the lechon with the apple in his mouth. What do you say? How do you say apple in Spanish? I forget. Naranjas, I think it is. Okay, wait, the apple in Spanish. Manzana, that's what I said. So you the lechon with the manzana in your mouth. And they're not telling you this. I'm gonna do the same. You're the pig with the apple. Cerdo con la manzana. Okay, the cooked pig, the lechon. Okay? And that's why nGanga-nZambi is like, whoa, man, you don't even know. I done throw the Holy Spirit out there. And all of you going to be the pig with the apple in your mouth and you don't even know. That's why they put pork for every one of these celebrations. You filled up with the pork. And even the so-called, the Muslims say we don't eat pork, but you're still spiritually the pork. You're still bowing down to Tammuz with the apple in the mouth. You're still bowing down to the pig god with his apple in the mouth because he killed him. Oh, you don't even know. And then you say, oh, but we have the cow. Then it's the holy cow then, which is really the Baal. Is this what I'm like? And then you got the Indians, they bowing down to Baal. We love the cow. Oh, yeah. Oh, you have no clue. And then you got the Chinese doing the both, the pig and the cow. Pig, both, eat chicken. The animal they got the rooster and everything going around the clock. You don't even know. It's like the Christians are the same as the Buddhists, except it's like Buddha on the cross. That's why the Japanese were like, hey, what the heck are you telling? This is the same guy. You don't even know. That's why the Japanese say, get the heck up out of here with this mess. Okay? The Buddha was like, hey, that ain't the man. That ain't him. You see? They knew. And they covered it up. Because they knew who Rome really did. The solidarity was playing people for 2,000 years because they were trying to destroy the temple, the spiritual temple. But they coded and said, oh, yeah, we're trying to destroy the Messiah, the Christians. You created Christianity. Lie. They're trying to destroy the Chiluba. They're trying to destroy the Banabetu Visolele Baklistu. Okay, the Abantwe. That's who they're trying to destroy. And they're using you as a bunch of pawns in the game. It's like, hey, okay. You know, anyway, let me bring it down. bring the music. Again, I don't own the rights to it. I'm gonna play the song like I liked before. But like I said, the way we danced in the Caribbean is how we danced to the Father the whole time. It never changed. They just make it now called Calypso, and like that Calypso is the witch. The mermaid. All praises. I'm gonna get up and dance a little bit. I like this song. Again, I don't own the rights or anything to it.
Hakuna Mungu kama wewe, 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 hakuna Mungu kama wewe.
We already knew how to praise the Father like this. We already knew. Well, let's keep going. Let's dance. Yes, Kakahundo means king. Yahweh, that was
Hallelujah.
Someday, hallelujah, hallelujah, from life of the Lamb of Kongo. Hey, the gorilla God, the silverback, coming back home. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Campbell. So, Tuna Mavimpi, Muazola nGanga-nZambi. We are doing well by the grace of the Most High. It's a struggle though. We fighting the fight. As they say, the Gorilla God, the King Kong initiative has always been the objective to destroy the nTotila, the earth of the Gorilla God and his temple, because he kicked us out again. You know, and that's the concept. We're going to continue to help our people realize this is not about race. It's about exposing lies. Okay? We don't care what race you are, what color, creed, whatever. We just know that the Banabeto of Isolili, we messed up. And it is my role to warn the people. I was a watchman behind enemy lines. And all my life, they've been trying to keep me from telling the world, hey, you're going the wrong way. Especially our own people, you're going the wrong way. But it is what it is. So now, and I know our Father, and this is what people got to remember. He goes malembe, 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 malembe. It's on his time, not yours. And we have been given these concepts to understand it in a language that was not ours, all over the world, spreading the love of who? The devil can masquerade like he loves people. You have been so deceived. He will be coming, oh, come and love, oh yes, love me, love, oh yes, I'm great. Okay. Oh, I love everybody. Lucifer will play this game. And the concept is, it would have never happened if all we had to do was be the spiritual temple like Masundasi instead of going into the temple like Cain. You're not getting any spiritual awakening, bowing down to gods of wood, stone, brass, gold, whatever they make it, porcelain, whatever you call, whatever they make these things out of. This is what Nimrod was doing This is what all of the Hamitic tribes been doing. You go to the temple, not be the temple. If you can say we are gods, which is fine, but there's only two sides. And the Anunnaki work for Lucifer. They're going to continue to lie for you. I know they're going to tell a lie. It don't matter what color that God is. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, none of it. Each nation has their versions of their own interpretation of what is now we understand as Lucifer. That's why he said in Isaiah 14, they lay low the Gentiles. Exactly. He come in every form, shape, color, creed, telling you he's the Most High when he's a liar. Lucifer always come to you first when you fast. That's why the world doesn't know who nGanga-nZambi is in spirit and in truth, and that's why the world is mocking him as King Kong, and Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. Okay, that's why they doing these things, and they playing all the arcade that they play or play video games. The arcade was a place where they worship idols back in the day. In the gardens that they would make in the pristine, okay, and bow down to all of these different creations. And that's why they made you think the law is done away with, or you don't have to worry about it. It's already, Jesus already paid the price. We don't have to go there. It's the solidarity that was teaching this lie. He never became sin. This is a deception when they changed the interpretation to hide the fact that they were using Christianity to steal from the temple. And Islam and Judaism and Hinduism and Buddhism and all the other beliefs, even with the Native Americans, yeah, they were stealing from King Kongo too. And they lied about it. The Anunnaki lied to everybody. You have been worshiping the gods of Atlantis. And they're going to say, no. No, you're not. Of course. Because if you say yes, that's the end of Atlantis. Goodbye. Boom. Okay? And Cain and his gods and Cain and Nama are the king and queen of Atlantis. Oh, you don't even know. Okay? Anyway, Nzola Kwingi, Nsambololo, Betwabu, Banabetu. Why do you think they don't want to really open your true spiritual eye? And they want to calcify it. Oh, no, that's satanic. Because then you see who's praying, who you're praying to. Why do you think they want your head and your eyes closed? So then you can't see you're getting played. We were looking at the Father, looking at his kingdom, praying and talking to all those who came before us, the kings and queens of the earth. They wanted you to forget who you are and make you so you have no idea, so that when you go back to the Father, you look like an idiot. No. You were building the Tower of Babel over there, okay? Yeah. No, you're talking to Anubis. You ain't talking to me. And Anubis was black. Oh, why you think he looked like a black dog? You're going to be deceived. Anubis was black. Just like nGanga-nZambi is black. Just like Mama Awa and Adama Yakongo was melanated. They weren't dark black. Okay? But they sure as heck weren't white. Okay? But if you want to believe it, oh, you guys racist. Hey. You think that when Putin brought out the archives, he was telling a lie? Yeah, I don't necessarily believe with the Jesus, because that was the sorcerer too. The real Messiah, Tammuz, and our Messiah were both black. Okay? Nimrod used to be black, then he got his melanin taken away. Scar. Army Hardy's, the pirate. Okay? The pirate king with the hook because they can't find his hand there and ran away. Okay? With the peg leg because they can't find his foot them either. Because and Samuel cut them to pieces. Yeah, this man ain't no king. Look, see, he's not a god. Cut them. You can't kill the Most High. Anyway, Zola Quingy and Sambulolo.